Now we are going to do a Golden Globes recap, folks. Let me take you to one of the hottest nights in Hollywood. We'll go through all the moments. We'll go through the winners. But I want to start this off by talking about something else award show adjacent that happened this weekend, and that was the Creative Arts Emmy Awards. Now, the actual Emmy Award ceremony that you guys will view, if you're big award shows or television fans, will be next Sunday. They'll be airing the Emmys. And that's going to be amazing. It's going to be hosted by Anthony Anderson. Tons of fun there. But they do this thing called the Creative Arts Emmys, where it's 2 nights. It's 2 nights before the actual ceremony, a week before the ceremony. And that's where they give out all of the awards that they don't want to give out on live television. You'll see a list of all of these awards, and you might see some clips from this weekend of awards that was this weekend. And now one of those things was for best unstructured reality programming, reality show, and Vanderpump Rules was nominated for the first time in that category. And I am horrified to say that they lost. They lost to a reality show called Welcome to Wrexham, which is Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney's. Rob McElhenney, is that? I say is from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. They have a reality television show because they bought a soccer team or a football team, and it's actually a really good reality series, but it's completely different. I really thought Vanderpump Rules was going to take it this year because I thought they did something that was so unique, and I thought they brought a whole new audience in, and they got people really excited about reality television in a different way. And I was frustrated. Well, here's the thing. I think at the end of the day, even though me and you, we're all cool with it. We love it. We respect it. We see the power in which these shows can hold, good and bad. But I still think the world at large, not the world at large, but the Emmy voters themselves don't understand. We are still sometimes considered a little joke, right? Like, oh, your housewife shows, or oh, this show or that show. Usually these kind of you'll get like, oh, Survivor's great, or The Amazing Race, which they are great, but it's not our reality television. So I thought this was such a great thing that they were nominated coming off the heels of Scandal, but I really thought they were going to take it. But I think, you kind of fall into that thing with Emmy voters where they just still don't respect it. And Welcome to Wrexham is great. It has a lot of heart, and it's got 2 celebrities. Ryan Reynolds is one of the most bankable male movie stars that you have out there. And Rob, I'm sorry, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is hysterical. That guy is a genius himself. So you have those 2 stars in that reality show. You're an Emmy voter. Of course you're going to give it to them. But I really thought there was going to be a chance that they took it. I would love if they someday released voting numbers, which they never do. But I think this is great. It's almost kind of like shattering the glass ceiling for Bravo reality shows, because if we can get this nomination, then maybe we can get a nomination next year. Maybe Real Housewives of Salt Lake City for that amazing finale, maybe that can get nominated. I think people do not see how powerful of a medium that reality television is still to this day. I know that's kind of weird because me and you, like I said, we agree, but it really is amazing what they've been able to do. And I can't wait to see what Bravo has in store in the next 5 years to kind of build on this. Like I told Sophie on this podcast, the ratings for Bravo right now are insane. It is having a trickle down effect, the power of Scandal, but so many people are watching Bravo right now, or watching Bravo on Peacock, that not only are they getting same day ratings that are stellar, but then you add 7-day ratings in, you add Peacock ratings in, and all of these shows are juggernauts. Even the shows that aren't doing well right now, or even the shows that aren't as entertaining, like Beverly Hills, highest ratings on Bravo right now, and I don't think they're even having a great season. So I think it's good because it has that trickle down effect where people are coming to Married to Medicine still. Married to Medicine having the best ratings they've had in years. But I think this is really exciting. Southern Charm had its best ratings since 2018 or 19. And that was like a reunion episode from what I read. So I think that's great. But I want to give a shout out to especially the production company, Evolution Media, who put together Vanderpump Rules. The cast, it would have been exciting for them. They could have all bragged that they were Emmy winners, but I really wanted it for Evolution Media because what I thought they did was so well done, because they were catching up to this event that had happened. And they managed, I've said this so many times, you guys are tired of me saying it, but they managed to build on our expectations and surpass them in a lot of ways. And then they had so many other people with their eyes on this show. We had national news media covering Scandival, and they kind of ignored all of that and just kept their eye on the prize. And I think they just really delivered on everything that the audience was wanting. And I think it was such a difficult job. And they just, and I think what they did is just really difficult. And they managed to do it. So you guys, you win the first So Bad It's Good award for Best Reality Television Show of 2023. So screw the Emmys. We're doing award shows here now, and you are the first. You're the only award, actually. I didn't really think of any categories because this wasn't a planned thing, but I am giving you my first award. If anybody from Evolution would like to come on to accept this award, I'm willing to take really anybody. Even if you're a janitor over there, I'm willing to talk to you. Because listen, everybody plays a part, I'm sure, at Evolution. Even the person that makes the coffee or gets the coffee, this one's for you. So that was this weekend as well. But tonight, the Golden Globes held at the Beverly Hills Hotel. Now, the Golden Globes, I talked a little bit about last week in an episode, is I kind of filled you in a little bit on that this is the Foreign Press Association. And it has, you used to be able to buy Golden Globe Awards, but they are the precursor to the Oscars. And also, the Golden Globes always promised a fun night because it was one of the only award shows that you were able to drink at your tables. People would be looser. You could just tell it was a really fun environment. So even if you didn't take the awards that seriously, or even if the actors and all the people involved didn't take it that seriously, they always had a good time, and you could feel that on the screen. And it was really so much fun to watch. And I think through the pandemic and through a lot of things that have been brought up in terms of the amount of people that were voting on these awards, like I think originally it was like 82 people were voting on these categories and then these awards. And now they've expanded their voting block to 300 people. They've made it more inclusive, which they needed to do. Welcome to 2024. But they still, after last night's show, we see are stumbling in a lot of ways. Now, it had its moments, it had its fun things, but they're stumbling. Like, this is not something we should give up on because it still got me really a little excited, and I always think that's a good sign. But for barring a couple of things, like I think Robert Downey Jr., he won for Best Supporting Actor for Oppenheimer, and I thought he gave a fabulous performance, but I also think he gave a really fun, loose speech. And I was hoping, because that was near the beginning of the show, that I thought other people were going to follow suit. And there was a couple fun moments. You had Kristen Wiig and Will Ferrell presenting, and they did a little fun bit. And if you should go back on YouTube and watch Will Ferrell and Kristen Wiig's Golden Globe bits. Awesome. But there's a couple things that they just failed right off at the start. First off, the pre-show. Now, the pre-show, usually we would watch like Entertainment Television. You would have Ryan Seacrest, Juliana Rancic. You would have like people actually kind of doing these red carpet interviews. Now, of course, we long and miss the days of Joan Rivers, Fashion Police, and being on the red carpet and messing up whose names and all this stuff. Like, Joan Rivers could do that, could make mistakes, and it was still fun. It was still funny. She was like the everyman or the every woman that she handled it so well because she was such a genius comedian. But the red carpet was there. Everybody was there. The stars were out. It wasn't like people weren't. I mean, they even had Taylor Swift coming for this thing. You had T-Swift. And then you're telling me decides this is the year they're not going to do red carpet coverage? At this point, is a struggling network. You've got to go with what works. And one of the things that works for is doing things like that. Now, I know it's expensive. I know it's pricey, but I'm sorry. Maybe don't show like one of your other, like maybe like Growing Up Bradshaw or the Terry Bradshaw, like maybe cut back on something else and say, we do entertainment news. We do entertainment events and do it to the best of your abilities. But I saw everybody missing that, myself included. And then I was looking for red carpet coverage. And I don't want to get my red carpet coverage from social media. I don't want to have to go to Twitter to look at things. And that's where I was looking at it. And I finally found on Paramount Plus, the streaming network. Now, by the way, the Golden Globes used to be with NBC. They were in a contract with them. Their contract has ended. And now CBS swept it up, and they have the rights, I believe, for the next 5 years, if I'm not mistaken. But Paramount Plus also owns CBS. So there was red carpet coverage from Entertainment Tonight over on Paramount Plus, but they did a really bad job of getting that out there. I mean, this is my thing with a lot of these award shows and all that stuff from this point on. It's like you got to reach out to all of us. You got to reach out to people who do podcasts. You got to reach out to social media influencers. You got to reach out to let us know, to let our audiences know, because we want to be a part of this. Now, I will be doing, I think, a YouTube video that I'll be putting up tomorrow about red carpet looks, because you know me, a man of fashion. I didn't see any Old Navy on the red carpet tonight, and I was dismayed is the word. But it's always fun to try to describe what these people are wearing because I don't have a language for it. So that's usually some yucks there we'll be doing tomorrow, me and Maritza. But so I was looking for red carpet coverage. I finally found it, and I got to watch a little bit of it before Sophie. But I just thought there's got to be better people that are out there that can do this. Like, there are people that are excited about this stuff. We got to bring that excitement to the people. We got to tell people, because the movies were good this year. I mean, you had Barbenheimer, for the love of God. There are so many reasons to shout out movies and television in the year of 2023 that this should be an easy thing. We need people out there that are excited about these actors, that know these actors, that have questions, not just about what they're wearing, but about what it was like to prepare for the movie or TV show that they're being honored for. Talking about their past projects. Make this fun. Make this a party, because that's what it should be. When I was growing up in Kansas, I used to watch all the award shows, and man, I was so excited when I would watch it. I was so excited. And then I would have my little toothbrush and I would practice, like, I used to dream about hosting the Oscars, and I used to practice with my toothbrush afterwards. Oh man, I remember that run that Billy Crystal did, and I'm not even that big of a Billy Crystal fan. No, I still am a Billy Crystal fan, but I thought he was just one of the best hosts. I remember when David Letterman hosted the Oscars, and he completely bombed, by the way. Oprah, Uma. The old school people will remember that bit. But David Letterman, he had his show on CBS, The Late Show, and even leading up to the Oscars, he was doing so many funny bits on his show about preparing for the Oscars that I thought, oh my God, this is going to be amazing. And he bombed. And it was like, actually, it was really funny in the bombing. Now, even comparing that now to Joe Coy tonight, it wasn't that kind of bomb. Joe Coy, unfortunately, and we'll get into that in a second, did not do well. And there's so many reasons for that. And I think in some ways he had a suicide mission. He had to throw himself into the fire. And I don't know if it was worth it for him to do that. And I'll tell you the reasons why. But I will say, hats off to him, even, because it is such a hard thing to do, and to face all of those people, and to face people that potentially don't even know who you are. That is tough. That is tough. But it doesn't excuse some of the things and some of the jokes that actually were out there. So anyways, I just think that the excitement needs to be brought back to these things. Hell, I'll go out and do it for free, not the hosting, but I want to be on that red carpet, man. Put people like Danny Pellegrino out there. You give me a shot. Give other people. I mean, there's so many talented people doing this stuff right now that would be so excited to be out there. Our friend Kirby Johnson, from Los Angeles podcast and her great Instagram account, she was out there. I think she was covering it for In Style. I'm so glad to have her out there, but we needed more of that. We need more of those people to tell the people at home why they should be excited, that this is what Hollywood represents, and not in a bad way, but in a good way. The magic that comes when a light goes off in the movie theaters, when you see Nicole Kidman in that AMC commercial, when you see the trailers, when you have your popcorn, how much excitement is involved in that. We need to remind people of the magic of all of this. And I don't mean in some bullshit, let's celebrate actors that get overpaid, but like, celebrate the craft, celebrate the artistry, celebrate that they are actually showing us, they're showing humanity on a screen, that they're able to make us laugh, make us cry. They're able to bring out emotions that we are not sometimes able to fully vocalize, because we are so, told that we are not supposed to be emotional people, but we're able to watch a movie and we can get emotional about that. And I think there is something so worthy of celebrating in that. But God, you had Barbie this year. Barbie, we should all be watching these things. It should be an extension of the joy we felt all year long going to these movies. And if you're not a movie fan, I get it, but like, come on, get it, be a movie fan. It's good. Also, you need to add a reality show category to the Golden Globes, period. You got to add one. They actually added a new award to the ceremonies this year, and we'll go over that award in a second, which I think was pretty funny when I read about it, but I thought it was kind of necessary seeing the show tonight. Where should we start here? I guess, listen, we'll start with some of the arrivals. Now, me and Sophie found out halfway through the show that Timothée Chalamet was there with Kylie Jenner, and they shared multiple kisses, you guys. If you were watching them cut away to commercial break, they were usually on Timothée Chalamet and Kylie Jenner. Man, they were very handsy. I will say it's funny, though, with fandom, is that a lot of people still don't believe that this is a real relationship. Like, they were kissing, and people were like, I don't actually see their lips touching. Yeah, well, come on. Is he pinching her boobs? What's going on? Like, they were like, still, even with that, they didn't fully believe it. They were like, I don't know if this is real. Guys, I think it's real. And also, if it isn't real, how funny that they actually live lives of prisoners, that they have to show up in big old gowns and like leather outfits and pretend that they love each other and kiss on camera. Either way, we win as an audience, because that's fun either way. If it's real love, it's kind of funny, because who would have imagined Timothée Chalamet falling in love with a Kardashian Jenner? I mean, that just was not on any sort of bingo card, even though I hate using that phrase. But I just never thought, I really didn't think Timothée Chalamet, I did not think Kylie Jenner was his type, but it looks like she is his type. Like, but also the Kylie Jenner of it all, to go from Travis Scott to Timothée Chalamet, wild. What a pivot. What a pivot. I mean, they're both very successful, famous, rich men, but that's a big pivot. They both like wearing leather too. But I mean, I think it's wild, and it's so fun knowing Kris Jenner a little bit, how proud she is, not of that relationship, but just of the fact that they're all over the Golden Globes. Like, to me, this is like, see, Kylie, your 2024 is starting off with a bang, which, by the way, speaking of that, Burbank Airport in Los Angeles, you ever go to this place? They have one of those Kylie Jenner makeup machines, and it looks like it's always full. Like, who are the Kylie Jenner makeup machines at the airport for? Do you guys buy your Kylie Jenner lip kits at the airport? Like, and by the way, the answer could be yes. I don't buy a lot of makeup, but it always cracks me up walking past that. And I always like to think that at the end of each day, Kylie Jenner has to come and like check the money at the Burbank airport. Like, oh, we made $300 today. Like, she has to actually get it, take it to the bank. That's what I like to imagine. But they showed up together. They showed up late, so they were seated a little bit late. They sat together, but they started a lot of drama. We're going to go over that in a second as well, because maybe Selena Gomez and Taylor Swift are involved in some drama over a photograph asking to be taken. And I think that's the kind of petty drama that these award shows need to actually reach out to the younger generation, the younger set. Like, listen, I'm there to watch Meryl Streep and Martin Short sit next to each other. That's exciting for me. But a lot of people like to see Timothée Chalamet and Kylie Jenner, or see Selena Gomez go up to Taylor Swift and Kaylee, who she's with, and kind of talk about that thing. So very exciting right off the bat. Okay, so some of the awards. Well, let me get into Joe Coy. Joe Coy was the host. He allegedly was hired just a little over 10 days ago. Now, the Golden Globes had a really hard time finding anybody to take this job, if you're to believe what they wrote in the trades. A lot of people were offered this. A lot of people turned it down. So Joe Coy, who is a very successful stand-up comedian, sells out 1,000 seat theaters. A lot of people love this. I'm not super familiar with his comedy. I know he dated Chelsea Handler for a minute. We remember that. Seems like a really nice guy, but I'm not familiar with his comedy. But when they hired him, my first thought was, wow, what a good, whoever his team is, this is a great victory for his team and himself. Because to get somebody like that maybe like the general population knows, but Hollywood doesn't really know. And I don't mean Hollywood in the sense of the people that put together TV and movies, but the actual actors, the people, like he's not part of this Hollywood in crowd. And that's like when you compare it to somebody like Ricky Gervais, even though he's gotten so much shit for his, whatever we're calling it, his comedy, he's gotten so much shit. And like his opening monologues were always like scathing. And so like I found it funny, but a lot of people just found it really crass and disgusting. But then you had my favorites, Amy Poehler and Tina Fey, when they hosted together. You had them, but last year's host was Gerard Carmichael, who is a great stand-up comedian. I actually enjoyed him way more than Joe Coy, but I'm just a big fan of Gerard Carmichael. I was kind of hoping that he would do it again. He kind of made it a little bit of his own. It was a little bit more downbeat than I think that they were hoping for. They were hoping to bring it back with gusto this year. They were promising a lot, and I don't think they delivered on that, even though all of the elements were there. You know, if you have the movies, if you have the stars, they all want to come, then it should be a lot easier. But man, Joe Coy made it look really tough. But like I said, I think he was set up to fail in certain ways because that room didn't know him. So his jokes had to be so on point to win over that crowd. And it's not just us at home, but that crowd. You got to win over all of those snobby actors and actresses and directors and writers. And they want to laugh. They do, but it's tough because you're not going to win them over immediately. And he just managed to not win them over at all. There was a couple funny bits, like he did Meryl Streep doing Wakanda Forever, which I got a chuckle at. But he made like a weird joke about Barry Keoghan's dick from Saltburn being Bradley Cooper's prosthetic nose in Maestro. And I was like, wow, what a weird, I see Todd trying to tie all these things together, but man, that didn't land. And he did one of my least favorite things ever is when the jokes were bombing, he literally threw his other writers under the bus and he said, listen, I just got this job 10 days ago. Listen, it's like, I'm sorry, like half the jokes that aren't landing, the other writers wrote. The ones you're laughing at, I wrote. And I just think that is sometimes the most cowardly thing to do. And for a professional stand-up like himself, I can't believe he did that, because I think one of the cardinal rules is you don't throw people under the bus when you're bombing on stage. He's a professional comedian. He's bombed so many times, I'm sure, because all comedians do, even amazing ones, that I just thought that was like, But yeah, man, don't make a joke about Robert De Niro getting somebody pregnant at 80 years old and then saying it's CGI. You're not going to win that crowd over. You listen, Robert De Niro might be 80 years old, but he looked like he wanted to kill you. And I think he might have been able to do it as well. Also made kind of the joke about Taylor Swift wasn't that bad. Said, you'll see less cutaways to Taylor Swift tonight than you will at an NFL game. But then they cut away to Taylor Swift and you could tell she was not happy with that joke. And she gave it like a good drinking meme reaction, which I'm like, oh, I saved that little thing. I was like, oh, that'll make for a good meme somewhere down the line with that reaction. So thank you, Joe, for that one, because I love memes. But yeah, man, maybe don't do a joke about Taylor Swift unless you're sure it is going to fucking land. It is going to bring the house down. But, it was painful reading some of the things about this guy online afterwards. And I don't know him personally. So, I mean, I know I would not feel good about myself. And it just didn't start off that party atmosphere right. Is that, like I said, there was an opportunity. If those jokes, I know it's so hard to put that together, that opening thing in less than 10 days, but man, you should have really thought about that when accepting that job, because imagine if he killed it. If he killed it, Joe Coy wakes up tomorrow and it's a whole different ballgame for him. He's already super successful, but man, this could take him to the next level. And who knows? Listen, if people continue to slam him all week, you'll eventually, what happens then in 2 weeks, it'll turn around and everybody will feel bad for him and then everything's forgiven. All's good. But man, it was wild, because you want somebody that is sure of themselves, that can steward you through a 3-hour ceremony, that's saying, all right, we know it's long. We're going to have fun. It's a great year in movies. We're going to tell some jokes. This is the meal's free. The drinks are free. So let's just have fun tonight. And you want somebody kind of sure of themselves and the moment. And he did not seem like he was any of those things. And it just set up the night on a weird start. And like I said, unfortunately, that job requires, I think, somebody that the audience is a little familiar with, because they would do these cutaways. And, when you're getting ripped on on joke purposes by somebody that you have no clue who they are, it's that much more painful for the audience to watch at home, because you can feel the anger, you can feel that tension, you can feel that he knows it's not going well. So that's the start of that. Okay, so this is the list of the winners. So best motion picture drama, Oppenheimer won that. I think we all knew that, but Anatomy of a Fall, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Past Lives, and The Zone of Interest were all nominated for that, but Oppenheimer took it. Big night for Oppenheimer tonight. We're going to get the Oscar nominations in a bit, so I'm sure the Oppenheimer crew will be all over those nominations, and I'm sure they're going to win a lot of Oscars as well. I will say about Maestro, Bradley Cooper's his second movie he's directed after A Star is Born. I watched it and I enjoyed it. It's a big swing. It's not for everybody, obviously. What's sad though, it's on Netflix and it's already fallen out of the top 10 movies on Netflix. And I thought that was wild. And I kind of thought, I actually had a dream about this last night, which just kind of shows you what I'm concerned with in my dreams, is I thought, like, oh my God, will he bring Gigi Hadid, who he's rumored to be dating, to the Golden Globes? And I don't care if it's a real relationship or not, but I thought maybe there was a chance he would, because people would be talking about that, which would then lead them to watch the movie. The game of Hollywood, though, is to find a way that people don't feel like they're getting browbeated into watching something, but to be like, oh, Gigi Hadid, that's exciting. What's Bradley Cooper up to? This movie, Maestro. Oh, I have Netflix. It's free. You want to lead them down that path, because it's going to be hard to get people to watch nearly a 3-hour movie about, a potentially closeted man who is a conductor. Even though he's had an amazing, fascinating life, you got to sell it to young people. You got to sell these things. And I thought I was like, there's a chance, but he brought his mom again. He loves to bring his mom to these things, which I actually love, of course. But I thought there was a chance he was going to bring Gigi Hadid to this. Okay, so best motion picture, musical or comedy. So they do best motion picture drama, best motion picture musical or comedy. They do that. They split them up. And the nominees were Air, American Fiction, Barbie, The Holdovers, May, December, and Poor Things. Poor Things with Emma Stone, directed by Yorgos Lanthimos. Poor Things took this. This was kind of a surprise win, because a lot of people were predicting that Barbie was going to win, because Barbie was hysterically funny. It also had kind of a subversive script that you didn't expect from a 4-quadrant tentpole film that Warner Brothers really knocked out of the park in the way they released it. It was just a perfect release. It really was. And I thought they were going to actually give it its props, because in a lot of ways it didn't save Hollywood, but it showed people why they go to movie theaters to begin with. But Poor Things took it. I can't wait to see Poor Things. I'm hoping to get that screener this week. Now, best motion picture animated was The Boy and the Heron. This is a Miyazaki film from Japan. The guy is a bona fide genius. He's done My Neighbor Totoro, Ponyo. I'm trying to remember all his films, but he's just an amazing animator and just a legendary one. I thought Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse was going to take this, but yeah, well deserved there. Best motion picture non-English language went to Anatomy of a Fall, and Anatomy of a Fall was also nominated in the best dramatic film category. So even though it's a foreign film, it was good enough to be nominated in the regular best film category, but won in the foreign language thing. Now, this is a new category that they created this year, Cinematic and Box Office Achievement Award. So this is wild. They put an award here to put all of the blockbusters, so they could actually talk about the movies that people went to see. And this had a lot of nominees. This had Taylor Swift, The Eras Tour. That's why Taylor was there. You had the Super Mario Brothers movie, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Oppenheimer, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, John Wick Chapter 4, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and Barbie. Now, this went to Barbie. Cinematic and Box Office Achievement. I don't think anybody can argue that this deserved to win. It is a funny category to begin with, but I think there is a world in which I was hoping that Taylor Swift, The Eras Tour would take it, because it would have been good press. It would have been good to show this new category was able to actually honor a person out there that has like saved certain cities' economies. I just thought it would be interesting. And I think that there is a part of me that wonders that Taylor Swift might have thought that she was going to win too, and that's why she showed up. And this isn't like the MTV Music Awards or Movie Awards where they let the winners know in advance. I guess they don't know. They don't let the winners know in advance. But it was great to see Taylor Swift there. It's good press for the award show. Now, best performance by an actress in a motion picture. You have Annette Bening for Nyad, Sandra Hüller for Anatomy of a Fall, Greta Lee for Past Lives, Carey Mulligan for Maestro, Kaylee Spaney for Priscilla. Now, this went to Lily Gladstone, Killers of the Flower Moon. And I've heard raves about this performance. Remember, this is available to stream on January 12th on Apple TV. I thought Carey Mulligan was potentially going to take this. Now, this is going to shift those tides a little bit. I feel like Maestro is going to have potentially a hard time at Oscar nominations if this is the way it's going. But Lily Gladstone, I've heard nothing but great things. And this is like going to have the big push now. Can she get the best? She's going to get a Best Actress nomination, but will she be able to take the whole thing? And this is a sign that she potentially will. That's amazing for somebody that is an unknown actor. But Martin Scorsese said when he first saw her audition, and this is after he auditioned everybody, even known actors, and said, nope, it's her. Imagine that, you guys. Imagine you being an actor and really struggling, trying, loving film, but not really doing anything in it, putting yourself on tape for this, getting a call, working with Martin on another audition, and actually getting a Marty Scorsese film. It's unheard of. How amazing. That's the magic of Hollywood. Okay, best performance by an actor in a motion picture drama. You had Bradley Cooper for Maestro, DiCaprio, Killers of the Flower Moon, Coleman Domingo for Rustin, Barry Keoghan for Saltburn, Andrew Scott for All of Us Strangers, and Cillian Murphy for Oppenheimer. This went to Cillian Murphy. Very excited for him. Now, the Cillian Murphy, Oppenheimer, Christopher Nolan pipeline is really strong. These guys have been working together forever, and I love this relationship because Cillian Murphy, remember, he was even Scarecrow in Batman Begins. He was the main villain in Christopher Nolan's start of his Batman trilogy. He had Cillian in that, and I think that's great, but he has shown up in so many Christopher Nolan films over the years, and I love that working relationship. I think it's really exciting when a director takes to an actor and continues to use them throughout their entire career. You could point them obviously to Robert De Niro and Martin Scorsese, and Robert De Niro was in Killers of the Flower Moon. But I think it's really cool to see this working relationship, and I can't wait to see the next films that they do together. Best performance by an actress in a motion picture, musical, or comedy. You had Fantasia Barrino for The Color Purple, Jennifer Lawrence for No Hard Feelings, Natalie Portman for May December, Alma Poisty for Fallen Leaves, Margot Robbie for Barbie, and Emma Stone for Poor Things. Now, this happened with Best Picture as well. I thought Margot Robbie was potentially going to take this, but it went to Emma Stone for Poor Things. Now, Emma Stone has been nominated like a boatload of times for Golden Globes. Emma Stone, it is so funny because I think she is so down to earth and silly funny. You can see that in her SNL performances, that you sometimes forget what an amazing actor she is, and well deserved. Always, it's really nice to be reminded of how good she is because she makes it look effortless, and she's just really cute, quirky, and funny. I mean, I'll always remember the first time I seen her in that like span of Superbad as the girl that Jonah Hill likes, and of course Easy A, which is just so funny. But to work up to these films that are just prestige films where she's getting nominated and winning, I mean, La La Land, are you kidding me? Emma Stone, congratulations. Also, Jennifer Lawrence, she had a really fun red carpet interview beforehand where she talked about wanting to give her award to the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Always a huge Bravo fan there. And when they had the camera on her for the nominees, she was super silly in that, saying, I'm going to leave if I don't win. She had a really big, bright, bubbly energy. Sometimes that puts people off, but I think that's the right vibe for the Golden Globes. I just wish more people had picked up on that tonight. Now, best performance by an actor in a motion picture, musical, or comedy. Nicolas Cage for Dream Scenario. This is an A24 film that has come out, and it didn't really have a wide release as I thought it would. It'll probably be streaming very soon. Nicolas Cage actually today celebrated his 60th birthday, and he looked really good there. Timothy Chalamet for Wonka, Matt Damon for Air, Paul Giamatti for The Holdovers, which is streaming right now on Peacock, Joaquin Phoenix for Beau is Afraid, and Jeffrey Wright for American Fiction. All amazing performances, but Paul Giamatti took this for The Holdovers. Now, this is another one that this film is directed by the gentleman who directed Paul Giamatti in the movie Sideways. If you remember that film from when did Sideways come out? Let me look that up. Came out in 2004. Wow. 2004. It was him, Thomas Hayden Church, Sandra Oh, but it was directed by Alexander Payne, and The Holdovers is directed by Alexander Payne. Alexander Payne, a great director. He also directed one of my favorite films, Election, with Reese Witherspoon and Matthew Broderick. Fantastic fucking movie. So funny, man. Go watch Election if you haven't. And if you have, go watch it again because it holds up. I just watched it again last year. But Paul Giamatti for The Holdovers, he took this one. I love that. I think Paul Giamatti is just a solid actor. And this was kind of a big, I don't know. Like, I was trying to think who I would want to win this. They're all solid performances. But Paul Giamatti, it feels right. I would have liked to have seen Jeffrey Wright. I think American Fiction is going to kind of blow people away when people start seeing it. Best supporting performance by an actress in a motion picture. You got Emily Blunt for Oppenheimer, Danielle Brooks for The Color Purple, Jodie Foster for Nyad, Julianne Moore, May December, Rosamund Pike for Saltburn, and the winner for The Holdovers was Divine Joy Randolph. Now, she is an amazing actor. You might remember her from Only Murders in the Building. She's been in the previous 3 seasons, but just great. And I've watched most of this movie now on Peacock, and she does. She gives a fantastic performance. I think she will actually win the Oscar as well, but it's great to see those other ones. I think Julianne Moore did a fantastic performance. I haven't seen Nyad yet. Emily Blunt, great. But Emily Blunt, I don't know. The Oppenheimer, it's so dark to me and depressing, the subject matter, that these are amazing performances, but it doesn't, I don't know. Sometimes the overall movie is so amazing that the performances are just a part of this amazing movie sometimes instead of looking at it singularly. I don't know if that makes sense. And Rosamund Pike in Saltburn, what a funny, perfect Rosamund Pike performance. Now, best supporting performance by an actor in a motion picture. You got William Dafoe for Poor Things, Robert De Niro, Killers of the Flower Moon, Gosling for Barbie, Charles Melton for May December, and Mark Ruffalo for Poor Things. This went to Robert Downey Jr. I thought, man, Charles Melton was a dark horse in this category. Now, I know a lot of people loved Ryan Gosling as Ken and Barbie as well, but I thought there was a chance Charles Melton might actually win the Globe. I didn't think he would win the Oscar, but I thought he might win the Globe. But it looks like Robert Downey Jr. will probably win the Oscar as well. Now, Best Director, we go to Bradley Cooper for Maestro, Greta Gerwig for Barbie, Yorgos Lanthimos for Poor Things, Christopher Nolan, Oppenheimer, Marty Scorsese for Killers of the Flower Moon, and Celine Song for Past Lives. Now, I love that I've started calling Martin Scorsese Marty, like I have a personal relationship with him. I'm so sorry, Mr. Scorsese. I do not deserve to call you Marty. Christopher Nolan, of course, took this. Christopher Nolan is just working on a different level than all of these people. Like, and all of these people are geniuses themselves. But Christopher Nolan, he did that film. What is that film, you guys? Harry Styles is actually in that film. It was the World War II film. Why am I blanking? World War II movie. It was Dunkirk. Okay, Dunkirk. I wasn't excited to see Dunkirk, you guys. I was like, oh God, another World War II film. I saw it, I loved it, and then I was at the Directors Guild years ago when it came out, and I got to listen to Christopher Nolan do a talkback. And watching him just talk about the sound in that movie and what they were going for, I was like, oh, this man is a genius. And I'd already loved the Batman films because I'm a geek like that. But I thought, oh, I get it now. After watching that film and hearing him talk about it and just hearing how much thought went into it. And he wasn't like, oh, look at me, braggadocious. He was really kind of breaking down the feeling he was trying to do and creating new things, new rhythms, new sounds, new vision. Like, it reminded me of Stanley Kubrick when I would read about him, how he would ground his own camera lens to get the perfect shot in Barry Lyndon. Like, it just reminded me of things that I don't have a vocabulary for, but get very impressed by. So Christopher Nolan, amazing. Also, Celine Song, watch out for her. Past Lives. I didn't think I was as moved. Now I'm thinking about it days and almost a week later, and I'm thinking about it differently. And I think that's good when a movie stays with you. But it's romantic in a sense. It's worldly. I don't know. I'm going to be very interested to see what she does next. I thought it was interesting. Best Screenplay, Greta Gerwig and Noah Baumbach for Barbie, Tony McNamara, Poor Things, Christopher Nolan, Oppenheimer, Eric Roth and Martin Scorsese, Killers of the Flower Moon, Celine Song, Past Lives, and Justin Triet and Arthur Harari for Anatomy of a Fall. Justin and Arthur took this for Anatomy of a Fall. So, okay, congratulations. Best Original Score went to Ludwig Göransson for Oppenheimer. And if I'm not mistaken, Ludwig Göransson is also a part of the, if I'm not mistaken, I could be, I think he's one of the people that actually is part of the Childish Gambino project that Donald Glover heads. Let's see if I'm right here. Ludwig Göransson. Let's see here. I could be completely wrong. If I am, I'm so sorry. Yeah, he is. He's frequently collaborated with Childish Gambino. Boom! Guys, this is the only time I have a weird memory for like, yeah, Ludwig. Congratulations. Ludwig won for Best Original Score. And then Best Original Song, this was a really tough category because you had Bruce Springsteen, you had Dance the Night with Dua Lipa, I'm Just Ken from Barbie, Peaches performed by Jack Black from the Super Mario Brothers film, Road to Freedom performed by Lenny Kravitz for the movie Rustin, and What Was I Made For by Billie Eilish and Phineas for Barbie, and What Was I Made For took it. Now, these are all really good songs, but What Was I Made For is pretty beautiful. I was reminded about that when Billie Eilish was the musical guest for Saturday Night Live a couple weeks ago, and her performance there almost moved me to tears again. I just thought, what, really, really, really beautiful. I just thought it was great. So I think that's actually going to win as well. Now we go over to television, best television series, 1925, The Crown, The Diplomat, The Last of Us, The Morning Show, and Succession. Succession took this as it should. Succession won a couple of times tonight, and it just reminded me of how sad I am that Succession is no longer on television. Didn't it do that for you too? It just reminded me. In fact, when they won for best television series, the creator was up there talking and talking of it like, well, I finally got good shoes for awards, and I'll probably never be nominated for anything again. And I was just thinking in the crowd, if I was there, I would have shouted him down and going, do another season. Do it. Come on. You know, like, screw art. Do it. Like, I want another season of Succession. In my mind, it's not over. Best television series, musical or comedy, you had Abbott Elementary, Barry, The Bear, Jury Duty for Amazon Freevee. Jury Duty, I'm so excited about this one. Only Murders in the Building and Ted Lasso. This went to The Bear on FX. Now, The Bear, not the funniest show. I would say more of a dramedy, with drama being the operative word there. But The Bear took it. I thought Jury Duty might be a dark horse, but The Bear took it. Well-deserved, great show. Best limited series, anthology series, or motion picture made for television. All the Light We Cannot See, Daisy Jones and the Six, Fargo, Fellow Travelers, and Lessons in Chemistry, and Beef. And this went to Beef on Netflix. Really loved Beef. I think I talked about it on the show at the time. Really loved it. I did think it fell off in the final episode, but really loved that journey. And I'm wondering if they're even potentially going to do a season 2 and what that would even look like. But Steven Yeun and Ali Wong really knocked that out of the park, even though there was a lot of controversy surrounding that and one of the people they cast in that show. Best performance by an actor in a television series drama, Brian Cox, Kieran Culkin for Succession, and Jeremy Strong for Succession. So you had 3 Succession actors in this category. Then Gary Oldman for Slow Horses, Pedro Pascal for The Last of Us, and Dominic West for The Crown, who played Prince Charles. Now, this went to Kieran Culkin, and he gave a really funny speech. I love that dude's energy. So funny. And he actually made fun of Pedro Pascal in this, of like, this is mine, sucker. Pedro Pascal, amazing actor as well. Really enjoyed The Last of Us. I think Pedro is probably going to do just as amazing of work in the second season. I was shocked that Kieran won this because I thought that Brian, Kieran, and Jeremy would have canceled each other out on votes because there's so much Succession love that you'd have some people voting for this one, that one. But Kieran took it, and he had one of the most amazing seasons ever. So congrats to him. Best performance by an actress in a television series, Helen Mirren, Bella Ramsey for The Last of Us, Kerry Russell, Sarah Snook for Succession, Imelda Staunton for The Crown, and Emma Stone for The Curse, which nobody is watching except for me, with her and Nathan Felder and Benny Safdie. The season finale is going to be airing this week over on Showtime. It is one of the weirdest watches that I've seen. Very David Lynch, very, very different, and I enjoy it. But it is a hard show to recommend unless I really trust your vibe. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're willing to sit with things and let things percolate, then it is the show for you. But Sarah Snook took this for Succession. Well-deserved. Oh, God, I miss her on Succession. Now, best performance by an actor in a television series, musical or comedy, Bill Hader, Steve Martin, Jason Segel, Martin Short, Jason Sudeikis, and Jeremy Allen White for The Bear. Jeremy Allen White, your Calvin Klein underwear model, took this one the second year in a row for The Bear. Then you had best performance by an actress in a television series, musical or comedy, Rachel Brosnahan for the final season of The Marvelous Miss Maisel, Quinta Brunson for Abbott Elementary, Ayo Edebiri. God, I'm sorry, guys. Ao's a genius, and she won this category, but I have a hard time pronouncing her last name. The Bear, Elle Fanning, the Great, Selena Gomez, Only Murders in the Building, and Natasha Lyonne for Poker Face. But Ao does great work in The Bear, so I think that's a great one. Also, fun fact, Rachel Brosnahan for Marvelous Miss Maisel, she is cast as the new Lois Lane in the new Superman movie that James Gunn, the director of Guardians of the Galaxy, they handed him the keys to the DC kingdom over at Warner Brothers, and she's going to be playing Lois Lane, so that's good for her. Now, best performance by an actor in a limited series, you got Matt Bomer, Fellow Travelers, Sam Claflin for Daisy Jones and the Six, John Hamm, Fargo, Woody Harrelson, White House Plumbers, David Oyelowo for Lawman, Bass Reeves, and Steven Yen for Beef, and Steven took this one. Congratulations. And best performance by an actress in a limited series went to Ali Wong in Beef. Best supporting performance by an actor in a series went to Matthew McFadden for Succession. Tom, come on, that's amazing. And you also had Alan Ruck from Succession in that category, as well as James Marsden from Jury Duty, which was heavily improv. He was nominated in this, but Matthew took it. It was his first nomination and first win for the Golden Globes. And then best supporting performance by an actress in a series, you had Elizabeth Debicki for The Crown, playing Princess Diana, Abby Elliott for The Bear, Christina Ricci for Yellow Jackets, J. Smith Cameron for Succession, Meryl Streep, Only Murders in the Building, and Hannah Waddingham for Ted Lasso. Elizabeth Debicki took this for Princess Diana. I do want to say I love the shout out for Christina Ricci and Yellow Jackets, but it also just reminds me of how disappointed I am in season 2 of Yellow Jackets. As I've had time to sit on this, I think it was a complete faltering second season. It had bright moments, but I think it got lost in its own mythology and didn't live up to what the audience's own mythology or where it could have gone. Some of their answers just didn't add up or lead, and it wasn't nearly as exciting as that first season and the potential of that. It just didn't land for me in any way. And I hate to say that because it was one of the shows I was most passionate about the first season. So I'll be excited to see where they go on the third season. Now, best performance by a stand-up comedy, you had Ricky Gervais, Trevor Noah, Chris Rock, Amy Schumer, Sarah Silverman, and Wanda Sykes. And Ricky Gervais took this for his Netflix special Armageddon. And that's the Golden Globe Awards, folks. Those are the awards themselves. But I want to talk about a couple of things. Now, listen, I put this in my my Instagram. Meryl Streep and Martin Short sat together, and I know they're Only Murders in the Building. I know they're co-stars in this season, but is there a world in which they're dating? Because Martin Short, he's single, right? He had a wife that he talks about, his lovely wife, his autobiography. I think it's called I Must Say, which is just amazing. Shout out to Christina Byington. But is there a world, like, she passed away, unfortunately, like a decade ago, okay? Meryl Streep has been separated from her husband for a long time. Is there a world in which Martin Short and Meryl Streep could be dating? How exciting would that be? Wouldn't it be great? Also, the big thing of the night, we'll finally get into it, was this Kylie Jenner, Timothy Chalamet, right? They're sitting together, fondling each other and kissing the whole ceremony. But Selena Gomez at one point goes up to Taylor Swift. And the rumor is here, folks, because you can see video of this and they go, Timothy? Like Taylor Swift and her friend are like, what? And allegedly, and take this with a huge grain of salt, take this with the biggest grain of salt that you possibly can, is that I'm trying to find, okay, said Selena Gomez asked to take a picture with Timothy Chalamet and Kylie Jenner said no. This is what people that attended the Golden Globes are reporting. In a different video, you can hear them say Timothy, like Taylor. Like you can see Selena telling Taylor Swift and her friend a story, and they're shocked about it. And it could line up that this is it. Now, if your mind, if you're a pop culture fan, go racing because the implications are insane. Because remember, Kylie Jenner is BFF, right, with Hailey Bieber, Justin Bieber's wife. Now, of course, we know Justin Bieber and Selena have their thing that nobody seems to ever be able to forget in their lives. Now, Taylor obviously has bad blood with the Kardashians. Kimye with that voicemail. Taylor, even most recently, when she was the Time Person of the Year in the article, brings up Kim Kardashian once again, saying that she was at her lowest after Kim tried to paint her as the aggressor of this, when it was in actuality, Kim edited a voice call to make it look like Taylor was the bad guy. Now, like I said, this could completely be false. It would just be so weird if this was the case. Also, remember, Timothée Chalamet and Selena Gomez were co-stars in a movie, a Woody Allen movie, where they were buddies. So this doesn't make tons of sense for me, but it's exciting to talk about, right? It's exciting to speculate. Is there a world in which Timothy is already whipped by Kylie where he wouldn't be able to take a picture with Selena? And then there was another thing that I heard, that Timothy was the one that said no to a picture with Selena. Regardless, we do have some moment that Selena comes up and talks to Taylor Swift about, right? Some moment did happen. So that's what the Globes are about. Also, I got very excited about seeing, I got really excited about seeing Bill Hader take a picture with Taylor Swift. I was like, oh, those are all my interests right there. Also, yeah, that's it, guys. That was the Golden Globes this year. We'll see what the after parties are like, and I'll talk a little bit about that on Tuesday, see if there's any good after parties that people were going to. But remember, this is going to be the lead up to, we are fully in award season, as this Sunday will be the Emmys. We'll be covering it here on So Bad It's Good. And thank you for joining another episode. If you like what we do here, please consider rating it 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. That truly helps. Shout out to Betches Media for all of their support. And I got a lot of fun interviews this week that some I'll be releasing and some I'll be doing this week. So wish me luck. I hope you have the best week ever. And I will talk to you very, very soon, like tomorrow.